Hi, I'm David Zyla, and welcome to another episode of Feel Good Beauty. So before we get started, well, I just have to share. Today's show is going to be so wonderful. I have extraordinary guests with some amazing topics to really enhance our lives. So let me just tell you a little bit about why I created Feel Good Beauty and what it is. I've spent my entire career helping women feel like the best versions of themselves. And when it comes to feeling beautiful, I've discovered that it's not about chasing trends or transforming yourself into an ideal or even shifting 1 inch out of your comfort zone. It's all about identifying and magnifying the unique, individual, and beautiful woman that you are. So in this episode, I'm going to share some tips with you on dressing to land your dream job, detoxing, cleansing, and nourishing your way to radiant skin with the Ultimate 4-Week Skincare Plan author, Kate O'Brien, refreshing your makeup for a reopened world with Natalie Setareh, who is the author of Be Your Own Makeup Artist. And we're also going to learn about improving your posture and well-being with educator and Pilates instructor, Michelle Pritchard. So why don't we get started? I can't wait. And let's talk about how to dress to land your dream job. So if we could go to the first slide. So just, we know this, but I'm just going to reiterate it. Your wardrobe can really make you stand out from the crowd. And as a concept, it might seem frivolous to think that your clothes can impact the success of your job search. And while nothing can substitute for a fantastic resume, spot-on experience, and killer interview skills, your wardrobe can really help you stand out from the crowd. We're a visual society, and at an interview, it's important to make a strong impression and also instill confidence in the employer that you're a dynamic choice for the role. I have seen thousands of auditions and interviews in my life, and I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, it is so obvious when the person walks through the door. I can tell if they're going to get a second interview or not. You see it, you cannot deny it. And you really need to be the A+ version of yourself. And that version for a job interview is, it has to include a standout interview outfit. So let's go to the next slide. So color in all of this is key. I am the author of Color Your Style after all, so of course it is. So this slide is about a range of colors that I think is the perfect go-to for an interview outfit. And this is called your dramatic color. And there's no universal color that works for everyone. Black does not look good on everyone. Navy doesn't look good on everyone. Everyone has an individual dramatic color that suits them perfectly. And if you check out episode 6 of my Feel Good Beauty videos, you can see a detailed explanation of how to find your dramatic color. And this is the color that really creates a vibrancy and a kapow when you wear it. And it will definitely, as I said earlier, help you stand out from the crowd. And your personal dramatic color is going to be a shade of blue, green, or purple. And I'm showing you this slide to show you to be open to this range. And this is just a small sampling of the possibilities that this color could be. If we could go to the next slide. And your personal dramatic color can be found by looking at the vein in your wrist. As I said, episode 6 has a little bit more detail on all of this, but you're going to open up your wrist and look on the inside. And what is the dominant color? Is it emerald green? Is it a blue? Or is it some sort of a purple? And this color really represents your greatest contrast. So this creates that dynamism, that like kapow effect. And the important thing when you're looking for this color of course, like all of your true colors, is that it should really keep your skin very glowy and very healthy. If all of a sudden you put a swatch in the hand of potential colors and all of a sudden all of the pigments sort of drain from you, then it's not a great choice. And so this color that you're going to wear is really important because it's going to make you pop. It's going to make you seem very, as I said earlier, vibrant and very energetic, and really kind of have a connotation of that you're ready for anything. And what employer doesn't want that, right? So if we could go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to wear this color. And you wearing this for a job interview in the form of a blouse, a dress, or a suit is fantastic. Of course, it depends on your industry, whether it's how formal it is, how informal it is. But the concept is really the same. I also want to mention that when you're going into a job interview, you have no idea what's going on with the interviewer personally. You have no idea what happened 5 minutes earlier. You don't know if they're thinking about, some issue at the company or in their personal lives. And so what you have to think about doing is say, wake up, look at me. I need your attention. Focus on me right now. And yet do it in a really positive way. And this visual of you and your dramatic color will really put eyes on you. And as a result of that, they will listen to what you have to say. And, trying this same interview in a neutral, you might look great in camel. You might look absolutely fantastic in midnight blue, but it's not going to have this same wow effect or this same pop. I also, when putting the outfit together for an interview, I would really do some research on what employees wear at the level you're interviewing at. It's a really good idea. And if you don't know, I would say always err on the formal. Always go just a little bit more formal, because the opposite can really kind of push an idea that, well, I'm not that interested, and I'm really not that passionate about being here. Whereas if you do err on the formal, it just shows that you respect the company as well as your industry. So if we could go to the next slide. And besides the right color, the right neckline is also really important. Most interviews are across a desk or on Zoom, and you really want to have a flattering neckline that follows the shapes in your face. My favorite tip on this is following the shape of your jaw. So if you have a rounder jaw, a rounder neckline. If you have more of an angled jaw, a V-neck. This individual in this photo, you can see that she has a rounded V chin. And so we've done that same thing with her neckline. And what this does is it just frames your face. We're following the shape that's there. And so the eyes can really go to your face and there's nothing to distract. I also would say that there's more information on finding this in my very first episode, episode 1 of Feel Good Beauty. So you can look at that in detail. I also would say when it comes to pattern, keep it to a minimum. You don't want distraction. You'll notice here, there's a very tonal, subtle pattern. That's fine. But going into larger, higher contrast, not so much for right now. You want to just think about you and this beautiful color. If we could go to the next slide. I also want to mention fit. So you could spend a lot of time and a lot of money on a beautiful interview outfit, but it's a size too big or a size too small. And that's really going to undermine you. An oversized shoulder makes you look defeated. Makes you look like shrinking or that you're hiding something. An outfit that's too snug makes it look like you'd rather be clubbing. So when shopping, you've heard me say this before, a 4, a 6, an 8, it doesn't matter what the tag says. No one knows what the tag says except you, but what they do know is how the clothes look on your body. Every designer tends to dress for a specific body type. I've discovered over the years that if a label is designed by a woman, that typically her body type will be her ideal and her clothes will be designed around that ideal. If it's a male designer, he will typically have a muse of some sort or a body type as well. So no brand is going to be consistent. So please be open to that. I also would say when you're shopping for an interview outfit, it's a really good idea to take several sizes either into the dressing room or get a few in your online cart and do some research on a size chart compared to other things that you might have. And, maybe order a few or try on a few and see the one that looks best, not the one in the size that you think you should be wearing. So also pay attention with the same thing with fit to condition. A scuffed toe on a shoe can really make it look like you're not detail oriented, and you absolutely want to convey that at an interview. So if we could go to the next slide. I next want to mention the idea of buying two, and I don't mean two of the exact same piece, but there's no substitute for the very perfect interview outfit. And once you find it, it should be your go-to. And for those of you who interview a lot, if you're a freelancer or a consultant or do a lot of short-term gigs, you're interviewing quite a bit. And so I would say is think about having two items in your dramatic color. And this is also really good for when you have a second interview. So this dynamic color will be a visual reminder of how much they liked you the first time when you wear it again. So it's like, oh, I really liked what she had to say at this interview, and the color at that first interview and the color at the second interview can really help remind. This is also having two in this color is also a fantastic safeguard for the last minute interview when something's at the dry cleaner. You're very much ensured to not wear a substitute that you don't feel as great in, and you avoid feeling defeated at the mirror in the morning. And if by the most important moment of the day of the interview is that moment at the mirror in the morning, looking at yourself saying, I feel like me, I feel good. I also would mention that when you are shopping and putting this together, always build alterations into your budget. Again, I go back to the idea of fit. If, for something to be perfect, you may have to take the skirt up an inch or shorten a sleeve or something like that, and do this. Because again, it's showing to the potential employer that you're detail oriented and that that those things matter. It's a great visual clue. If we could go to the next slide, please. And so I want to talk details for a moment. So when you're dressing for an interview, if it's a more fashiony type job, of course, a necklace or maybe a slightly more focal point earring is great. But anything that's too costumey is going to take away from you. A simple earring is always a great fallback. It can show a little bit of personality, but not distract. And again, I keep going back to this idea that all emphasis should be on you and your great skill set and your being the perfect candidate for this role. And if we could go to the next slide, please. And just remember that many interviews are short. You've got sometimes 15 to 30 minutes, and you want the interviewer to love you. The first impression is the moment to hook them visually so you can lock in on what you have to say and what you can bring to them as an employee. And I just want you to know that everything I've spoken about today can be used both in person for our reopened world as well as on Zoom. And if we could go to the next slide. And to follow me and to find more information about my work, you can look at my books. You can go to my website, www.davidzyla.com, and follow me on social media. You can also check out my Feel Good Beauty full set of videos on YouTube. So that is how to dress for landing the dream job. So we are now going to go to our first guest today. And I want to tell you a little bit about her. Kate O'Brien was born and educated in Galway, Ireland. She's a qualified dietitian with a postgraduate diploma in cosmetic science from the Society of Chemical Scientists in the UK. And she's also a qualified yoga teacher. She's written 9 lifestyle books, her most recent being Your Middle Years and Glow, Your Complete 4-Week Plan for Healthy, Radiant Skin, which was recently launched in the US. And Kate continues to write with lifestyle magazines, including Condé Nast Traveler and Tatler UK, Asia Spa, VacaU magazine in the US, and the Glass magazine in Ireland. She's founding judge of the prestigious annual Asia Spa Awards. And last year, she co-founded My Satsang, an authentic platform for yoga teachers and seekers to delve deeper into yoga practice and spiritual wisdom. And today she is going to tell us all about 4 weeks to healthy, glowy skin. Kate, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm just sharing my screen there. Thank you very much, David, and so lovely to be with you all. And hi from Dublin in Ireland. I'm delighted to be part of this today, and I am very passionate about what I'm doing, and not just skincare, but really every part of us. And you know, as you would agree, David, and everybody else, like it's not an outside job. It's not just the skin. Real radiance, real glow is an inside job. It comes from within, as does happiness and joy and contentment and everything in our lives. And we spend too long and we work too hard trying to find these things on the outside, and they're not, you know, they're not there. Everything comes from within, and our skincare is really important part of this, but there's a lot of other factors as well. So while I am going to speak about skincare, I am bringing in a couple of other factors as well, which, you know, I believe are equally important. And with my own background, I really feel I'm so passionate about this, because I'm combining really all the different assets that really make up the whole person and the best of the whole person. So while my background was in nutrition initially, I went on to study skincare, and now I'm a yogi, and I'm continuing to study all about Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, all of these different things, yoga philosophy. So in my work now, I combine it all together, which I just think really completes the picture. And that's what makes us what we are, and really lets our own magnificence shine, which is in every single one of us. So just a little bit more on the book itself. And this is the quote inside the cover: nature gives you the face you have in your 20s. In your 20s, it's up to you to merit the face you have at 50, or Coco Chanel, which I think is just fantastic and says it all. And just to talk a little bit about skin and making your skin work for you, which is really what it is about. I'm going to focus a little bit more on cleansing, toning, and nourishing your skin every day. Eating is equally important, and in the book I have really there's about 60 different recipes in there, all focused on wholesome, healthy foods. healthy seasonal foods. So it's eating for your skin. Evening, taking very good care of your skin from a cleansing perspective, particularly in the evening time, and switching up your routine with the seasons, which is very important. People they find something that they feel works for them. And then as the seasons change, our skin changes. As we go through various stages in life, our skin changes. So it's really, really important that we switch up our skincare to keep in line with the rhythms of nature, with the rhythms of our body, regardless of what stage in life we're at. And then I'll be talking a little bit about skin serums, and then to focus on natural skincare where possible, and safe sun, which I think has been drummed into all of us, and it is so important at every stage in life. And probably for younger people, they need to spend less money on very expensive skincare and just focus on cleaning your face and focus on sun care, regardless of where in the world you are living. So moving on to skin cleansing, which is one of the key focuses of this. And I really believe, in all my years' experience, that it's really having a blank canvas. As with any great artist, it must be a blank canvas before they can do anything worthwhile on it. So it is so important that we take care of our skin by cleansing it and starting off with a blank canvas at nighttime, so that the skin repairs overnight. That is the time when the most active skin repair happens at nighttime. And the skin works with the circadian rhythms in the body. So the earlier we do this in the evening time, the more chance we leave our skin to repair. And that skin cleansing in the evening skin cleanse and repair, I've made that a little ritual where basically you're really, as the sun is going down, or when you come in from work in the evening, or working from home when work is done, just go and spend that few minutes and make a little ritual of it, where you're literally washing away the cares of the day. And I often find when I do that, I feel, okay, that's done, and here I go. And you just feel so much better yourself when you do it. And then through the day that you're cleansing in the morning, giving your skin most of the time a lighter cleanse, and then it'll help you feel good and glow through the day. And as I said, use that evening cleansing ritual as a time to wash away those worries of the day. Let them go down the sink when you're doing after your cleanse, and you will feel a little bit better, even if it's been a particularly difficult day. It can really help you. The day is over, let's move on, okay? And we can feel a bit better about yourself. Another question a lot of people have, and the answers to all of these is a lot more about all of these sections in the book. So I would urge you to refer to the book for this. But cleansing balms are now very, very popular, versus cleansing oils, versus water, versus double cleansing. Double cleansing has only been a term that's been brought in the last couple of years. And a lot of people asking, what actually does it mean? Do I need it? If you're living in a very polluted city or a very polluted area, wherever that may be, giving your skin a double cleanse can absolutely help, because the first cleanse will take away the outer surface part of it, and the second cleanse is a deeper cleanse, which really cleanses more deeply and leaves your skin feeling super, super clean at the end and refreshed, which is very important. Balms, again, I think it's work with nature and work as you spend a little bit more time taking care of your skin, you will get to know your skin, and you will get to know what your skin needs. And it also depends on the time of the year. When in winter time, when it's colder and that wind can be quite sharp, it can actually be quite harsh on the skin. So that's when you will need, when I would particularly use a balm, a skincare balm, particularly in the winter times. Summer times, again, when the weather is brighter, you might find that some like just a water base, like a foamy type of skin cleanse might do. If you wear a lot of makeup, at the end of the day, I would 100% go for double cleanse most days of the week anyway. And it doesn't have to take too long. And again, use this time as a little mini ritual for yourself. These rituals, self-care is just so important. And the more I go along in my career, the more I see that we don't take care of ourselves. We're the first to take care of other people, but maybe it's time to just take a little bit more care of ourselves and treat ourselves like we would treat a very close friend. And just be kind to ourselves. Don't be harsh on ourselves, and take the time to take care of ourselves. Moving on to sort of an exfoliation, I feel very adamant about the overuse of acids in skincare. And I know some people may not entirely agree with me, but I think they are overused. And I'm seeing young adults, older teenagers, sort of not even 20, who are using acids on their skin. And acids, yes, they do have a purpose. And when I'm talking about acids, I'm talking about like AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, or beta hydroxy acids, or salicylic acid, which, yes, they do have a role, but they are overused. And you will see, if you look, and it's also useful to just spend a little bit more time looking at the ingredients in your skincare. And even when you're talking about a skincare toner or a spritz, you will see that there's acids in a lot of those. So some people are using acids in a cleanser, in a spritz or a toner after their cleanse. Then they're using one in their skincare serum. And that is triple dose of acid. And acids, while yes, they have a role and they can really help exfoliate the dead skin cells, they're very harsh. And they actually, a lot of them can they can wear away the acid mantle of the skin, which is the protective part of the skin. And that actually, so they're leaving the skin more vulnerable to pollution during the day and to attack from the external environment. So if you do use acids, please, please, please use them minimally, once or twice a week, but no more than that. And again, it's about being gentle. It's about being kind to your skin and being gentle with it. So I would highly recommend a more gentle exfoliation, once to twice a week. Slightly less, maybe once a week, if your skin is very aggravated. If your skin is aggravated, I'm not a dermatologist, but if your skin is aggravated, the less you do it, the better, because you're only going to increase that aggravation. So really, until you see if it's particularly aggravated, you may need to see a dermatologist. Well, then they will be the ones to advise you. But until you do that, really cut back on skincare that you're using until that happens. Face masks. There are some beautiful, beautiful products out there all over the world. And I'm even seeing in Ireland in the last couple of years, some absolutely divine natural products that are new to market, and they are 100% natural and so, so beautiful. So there is so much to choose from. And when you're using a face mask, I would highly recommend, again, focusing more on the natural end of it, the natural botanicals that will repair and nourish the skin. And with face masks, again, you're using them maybe once a week or twice a week, and treat yourself to one and enjoy it. Some of them now are left on overnight, but the product will advise, follow the directions on the product. But again, try to get to know the ingredients of the product. And what I find in that as well is, if you find a brand that you trust, well, people often ask me, well, how do you know that brand is good? I'm quite fortunate, because I've managed in most cases the skincare that I use. I know the founders, or I know the brand very well. I've interviewed the people, the scientists behind it. So, I trust them. And I think you've got to build that, as you would with a good facialist. You keep coming back to a person because you trust them. And the same with the brand. If you find a brand that works for you and you trust them, well, then continue to use them. And you can switch up within that brand, or you find another. I normally will mix sort of natural with a cosmeceutical or a more medical type skincare product. But if I'm using a more medical type product, it will be one that I would trust, and I know where it's coming from. I know where the ingredients are coming from. They may not be 100% natural, but I know where they're coming from. And that is very, very important. And then the more you spend time on this skincare and on yourself, you will get to realize that for yourself, and you will feel more comfortable with it as well. Skin peels, and again, a lot of people are using these, and this comes back to my point about the acids in skincare. A lot of these have very high acid content in them, so just be careful if you're using them. Don't use them regularly. Start very, 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 very small amount and very irregularly, and if it works for your skin, then you can build it up very, very slowly. But just really, I'm saying buyer beware here, And yes, they do serve a purpose, but they are overused and people's skin is being destroyed. It leaves your skin very, very delicate, and they're very, very harsh on skin. So just be careful if you're using them. And again, if you find a brand that you trust and works for your skin, remember, everybody is different. So every skin will react differently to particular products, even if they're natural products. Natural ingredients are quite strong. So every skin will react differently. So you've really got to find one that you will trust. So with peels, yes, they have a place, but not for every skin type and not for every day. So choose very wisely on that. And with the acids, again, with your, as I said, your alpha hydroxy acids, they often have these peel pads and acid toners. They can leave the skin because the skin thin and fragile, because what they do is they destroy the outer acid mantle of the skin. So just be careful if you're using them, and that's what keeps the nourishment in the skin and helps protect the skin and keep it hydrated. So just be careful if you're using those. And moving on to the neck, and I just adore this quote. It's in the book. I think many of us will know who Nora Ephron was, and I just love her work. Our faces are lies and our necks are the truth. And it is so true. And if you look at people, and I see it, I suppose I've been in this industry for, gosh, over 20 years now, and I can see it in people, and they will spend so much time and so much money taking care of their faces. And then you see their necks, and their necks are looking very tired. Often many people don't even put sun protection on their neck, so they can get huge amount of damage there. So just when you're doing it, start from your décolletage area and work your skincare up. Don't ignore this. Even when you're cleansing, cleanse from here, and just cleanse up and out when you're using products on your skin. And spend that, massaging, as I said, in that evening skin repair in particular, massage the product into your, so start in the décolletage, moving up and up the skin and out. And really just take care of it. And with your sun cream, never forget this area either. Look upwards more. And with the yogi in me, more upward dog. When you're thinking about your head down, first of all, you're putting pressure at the back of your neck, but you're also causing more crease marks down here. So up. So even if you're sitting at your desk on your Zoom, or you're working, just lift the head up and just do a little bit of exercise. So you're moving the neck muscles, and you're helping prevent sort of very, very deep crease marks. Computer screen, phone at eye level, avoid this tech neck, which some people may have heard about, which the younger generation, it's going to be a huge problem because, as we know, spending your days with your head down on your phone, and it is causing a lot of problems from a muscular end of it. And, physiotherapists and physiotherapists specialize, and physical therapists specialize in this tech neck things. It is a big problem. So again, more of these upward dogs where you're lifting your head as you would, and lifting your neck as you would in yoga. And the neck area needs skincare love too. And avoid thick and heavy neck creams, as they can irritate the skin. And again, unless you find something that works for you, I don't personally buy a neck cream. I will use whatever I'm using, particularly with the serum. I will use the serum that I have, and I will use that on my neck. But I tend to move away from very, very heavy moisturizer type creams anyway. That's just my preference. So I don't have, but some of these thick creams can aggravate, and they can cause crease marks in the neck. So just look out for that as well. And as I mentioned, sweep outwards and upwards when you're applying skincare to your neck area, and indeed up to the face. It's up and out is how it goes. The power of sleep, and I can speak for hours about this. And beauty editors will say that sleep is as important as what you're putting on your skin or putting into your bodies. And I think it's not just beauty editors. I think it's everybody now. The more research that's going on about how important sleep is for us, the more it's come to the fore that we really do need to. It's about self-care. It's about taking care of our bodies, taking care of our minds. And our skin synchronizes with the circadian rhythms in the body. So that is so important. So when the sun goes down, when evening time comes, our skin automatically starts to move into repair mode. And that's why, as I mentioned earlier, the earlier you really cleanse your face and set yourself up for the evening, the more time your skin has to repair. It makes so much sense. And there's been a lot of studies on this, particularly in recent years, and they're finding that people who have done this earlier in the day, that their skin actually recovers more through the night. And they have looked at sort of the time people have slept when they have cleansed their face in the evening and put on their serum and their night cream, and then how long they sleep, and they have found huge discrepancies, and that the skin is much more refreshed in the morning when it has longer to repair through the night. And it also is the time when the immune system in the body reboots. And that's also, again, we know how important that is, particularly in the past 18 months. It has really come to the fore, and that we need to protect ourselves, and we need to enhance our immune system in whatever way we can. And that's where food comes in. So it's so important, again, which I will mention in the next slide. But it's really eating to protect our immunity and to enhance our immunity. And the skin repairs, the skin barrier, again, food, as well as skincare and cleansing effectively and decreasing the acids in our skincare. It's food is key to keep this barrier nourished. And it's things like eggs. There's the lecithin in eggs, in egg yolks, is particularly useful for the skin barrier. It helps nourish the skin barrier. And berries and seeds and nuts, they're all really important. And as many people may know, growth hormone is also produced while we sleep. So it really, and again, this is about self-care. This is about taking better care of ourselves, and we've forgotten how to. You know, people have been working so hard that they have forgotten how to take care of themselves. And maybe the last 18 months has taught us something about that. And hopefully people are taking a little bit more care of themselves and getting more quality sleep through the night. And with food, and I could talk for another few hours about this, because this is my initial background. And these photos are actually from my book. Because there's so many absolutely beautiful recipes, all wholesome, healthy, nourishing, to feed our body, to feed our skin, to feed our mind, to feed our hearts. It's, again, food has got such a negative press over the last number of years, and the association with calories is just, it makes me really sad to see people so consumed with it. You know, and if we eat, it's about the pleasures of eating. It's about eating to fuel our body. It's about enjoying the food we eat. And that's the way, for previous generations, that's the way it was. And whatever has happened in our generation, people have become so consumed with it. And, you know, there's one of the writer in the UK, in one of her books, which I thought was beautiful. She said, if you eat healthy, nourishing food, fuel your body, fuel your mind, and then let the calories take care of themselves. So don't focus on the calories, focus on fueling your bodies with healthy, nourishing, skin-loving foods, and let the calories take care of themselves. They will. And as I said, I'm particularly passionate about this, because until we actually fuel ourselves effectively and enjoy the pleasures of food, we will never truly be happy in ourselves. So that is so important. So I've used these words quite a lot: be gentle, be kind. It's just to really sum up what I've been speaking about. Use natural products where possible. I didn't spend too much time on this, but ideally we will use natural products. Sometimes we need a little bit more help, and that's where I believe that the more active cosmeceutical type product comes in handy. But it's focus on the natural where possible. Check the ingredients. Just become a little bit more conscious of what you're putting onto your skin, as most people now do with the food they eat. So just take a little bit more attention there. Easy on the acids. Work with your body's rhythms. Get that sleep. Your body needs it. Your skin needs it. Tune into the seasons. And I mentioned that briefly with the way we live our lives. in total, not just with skincare, but let's tune a little bit more into the seasons. And with skincare, as I said, sometimes you sort of slightly more concentrated products in the winter. The type of cleanser you use might be a little bit different in the winter to the summer. So switch up your skincare with the seasons, but tune into the seasons in general, in what you're eating, in what you eat every day. Eat seasonal foods, eat fresh seasonal foods with a focus on those. I'm in the middle of actually studying some Ayurveda, and it is fascinating. And that's where this is how our ancestors lived, and they didn't have a lot of the problems we have today. And they worked with the seasons. They ate mostly from nature. And take time for a facial. If you have a facialist, then again, it's about building up that relationship. And if you have somebody you trust, well, go and enjoy it. Treat yourself. You deserve it. You need it. We all need it. Treat your skin like your favorite facialist would. Nourish your skin and your body and your mind. And finally, treat your body with the respect that it deserves, and we so deserve it. Another area that I'm researching a little bit myself now is the goddesses. The goddesses. The first photo here is of Durga, who is the goddess warrior in Sanskrit, in yogi speak, in yoga philosophy, and I have a particular affinity with her. She's the goddess of strength and beauty, and she is. The more I learn about her, the more I'm drawn to her. And the picture on photo on the right is the Greek goddess Athena, who's the goddess of wisdom. And the more I'm learning about these goddesses, the more I see they took care of themselves. They weren't treating their skin or their bodies badly. They took very good care of themselves. They had powerful lives. They had jobs to do, and they took care of themselves. So really, I think, whether it's the skincare you're using, what you're putting into your bodies, how you're spending your time, it's about taking more care of yourself. And that's what real beauty is. That's what radiance is. And yeah, that's when we'll be happier and healthier and more fulfilled in our lives. And in my view, that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Kate, thank you so much for this reminder of, it's very interesting because your work is just so inspiring. But, when you lay it all out, like, here's what you should think about. I think so many of us are looking at that list going, well, I used to do that, or I've done some of those, right? But having it all together as this whole plan is really fantastic. I do have just one quick question before we wrap. What would you say is the biggest misconception around taking care of ourselves and our skin?
I think in skincare in particular, it's people think the more they put on their skin, or the more with a lot of cases, the more money they spend on their skin, the better the skin will be. And I believe that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be very time consuming. And less is absolutely more in so many cases. And if you get the basics right, well, then everything else will take care of itself.
Thank you so much for all that you do and for sharing your fantastic work and marvelous advice today. And Kate, how can we follow you? Oh, here we have it.
Here we go. That's the ultimate 4-week skincare plan, which is available in the US. It's slow in the Irish market. That's why there's a photo of me in the middle with both of my books. But the content is the same. And then the book prior to that is Your Middle Years, which was a book geared towards women in midlife. So at Kate O'Brien Wellness on Instagram. And then I'm My Satsang, you'll see over there in the bottom left, is a company I founded with a yogi colleague of mine, Tara O'Rourke, about 6 months ago. And that really encapsulates everything else that I'm talking about, from the yogi goddesses to really just to yoga, to taking more care of yourself. It brings everything in together. So that's where you can find me. So thank you so much again. Really
Wonderful.
enjoyed it.
Thank you, Kate. So now that we have learned how to really help our skin. Now we're going to talk about something that can go on the skin. And we have a segment now on how to refresh your makeup for a reopened world. And we have the wonderful Natalie Setareh. And she is an award-winning author, international makeup artist, and educator. She's based in Wiesbaden, Germany. She believes that makeup is for everyone, and she teaches people how to shop for the right products and how to apply those products in a way that works with their skin type, skin tone, and their preferences. Her work focuses on teaching people to be smart consumers and eliminating all the white noise that can lead to confusion and frustration. She specializes in unsponsored, unbiased makeup advice that is 100% intentional and inclusive. She uses her unique experience as a military officer in the work she does as a thought leader in the makeup world. She sees the bigger picture and is motivated to disrupt the stale, outdated ideas that exist in the industry. She's also passionate about helping aspiring makeup artists find their own voice and purpose through her mentoring and coaching services. Natalie, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me back. I am so
We're
glad to be here.
We're thrilled to have you back. And now that the world is reopening in a wonderful way, what better time to have a little refresh on our makeup? And what tips can you give us on this?
Absolutely. Well, I have a little presentation. Let me share the
Great.
screen with you. And I'm going to actually try to whiz through this so that I can do some demo because makeup is very visual. And so I want you guys to see it. You guys see this, the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so we are coming out of a year, right, of not really wearing makeup or wearing Zoom makeup, as I like to call it, or putting filters on. But now we're going to be going out in real life. So this is a really good time for us to go through our makeup and our skincare products and get rid of stuff. It's going to also, I like to talk about the less is more. So we can get rid of new stuff. That doesn't mean we need to replace it. Let's use what we have. Multi-purpose makeup is something I'm really about. Less waste, high impact. It's what pros do all the time. And I think that everyday makeup wearers can also be like pros. It's not just, our own secret. And then I'm going to share 3 of my favorite hacks, 3 that I teach so much that have really big impact and are very minimal effort. So this is some just general expiration dates. Your liquids and your creams, really, I would say 1 year, but 1 to 1.5 years after opening, you're done. And so if you haven't opened your foundation for over a year, it might still work. But your skin, especially as we get older, it's become more sensitive and there's so many preservatives in these products. So I would really just, it's hard to part ways, but let's try to remember shelf life. So when we buy something, let's make sure we can use it. Powders, these are something that you can extend the shelf life on with sanitation. It's something that we do as makeup artists all the time, but really after 2 years, the efficacy, I guess the performance of the products just aren't going to work the same. So you can buy these beautiful eyeshadow palettes and they're going to degrade. It's just, they're not going to perform. They're not going to have that intense pigmentation. And so after 2 years, it's like, they're just not going to work. I'll show you a way that we as makeup artists do extend our shelf life of our powders. And last but not least, I get this question a lot, is mascara. I'm going to show you the hack, but really after you open it, 6 months, really, you can maybe get it to go a year, but most of the time 6 months. So make sure you're going through your makeup right now and your beauty products because you don't want to be using expired stuff. So let's get into the fun stuff. Let's get into multi-purpose pigment. So, you already probably have lipsticks that can double up as blushes. You already have eyeliners that could double up as like as an eye crayon. Mascaras can also sometimes double up as eyeliners. So you can be really savvy. I love a good cream pigment, a good cream blush. This is Danessa Myrick. She has an entire, I'm not sponsored by her at all, but I think her line is just now entered into Sephora. And this is a pro quality line, and it's a pigment. So you can use it on your eyes, you can use it on your lips, you can use it on your cheeks. You can really have fun with it, create a nice monochromatic look. And you're doing it with one product, creating less waste, creating, and then you can also build with colors that you already have. You can use it to mix it. And so share it out with your moisturizer if you don't want it so intense, or you can apply it directly. So multi-purpose pigment is really fun. And most of those are going to be creams, which is great because they're normally smaller and you can use them up for sure in a year. The other types of palettes, if people really love palettes, I like to recommend getting a matte palette. That means there aren't so many shimmers and metallics. Shimmer and metallic palettes, the palettes that have a lot of those in there, they're really actually cheap to manufacture. They're not all created equal, and a really good matte palette you will have so many you can use it on the face as bronzer, you can contour your eye, you can use the dark shades as eyeliner. I mean, really, for all ages, a good matte eyeshadow is great. Yes, I saw a question. That was the pigment that I just shared was from Danessa Myrick's, and it is in Sephora. So, okay, so when you're looking at palettes, make sure that there's a good number of matte shades. We could go into color theory. I'm sure David already knows the color theory in the eye is really important, and knowing your undertones in your eye and all the colors. But a good matte palette will always carry you for those full 2 years that you have the palette. And then these are my 3 favorite hacks that I'm going to show today. They're going to really do, we're tired. We want to be comfortable when we go out. We've been comfortable this last year. So going into a full face of makeup is probably going to feel a little forced. So these are 3 hacks that I love because they're going to feel so good and so impactful. And you don't really need a ton of stuff. So I will show you those. I do have a free guide at nataliesetareh.com/clean that shows you how to clean your brushes, when to clean it, and all that jazz. Brushes are not all created equal. I'll get into that a little bit when I do the demo. But if you want to know a little bit more about makeup brushes, I have a great free guide. There is also a more comprehensive guide in my book, but you can get that at nataliesetareh.com/makeup brushes. And then of course in my book, all of this is in more detail, and you can find all of this information from me later, but I want to show you guys kind of some demos because last time I think I talked a little too much and you guys aren't going to see what I was talking about. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to show you is the mascara pop. So this is the hack that you need to know about to know if your mascara is good. So it's quiet. You hear that pop? That's a pop. That means it's a fresh mascara. You can kind of see, like if you get soft serve ice cream, it still has got that little swirl on the top. An example of a mascara, do I have one? No, I think I got rid of it. No, yeah, I do. I have it. So this is a mascara. It's got a really faint pop, and this is not really like the curly Q. This might have a few more uses, but there's not really a pop. It's just kind of like so that means that all of the air has been sucked out, and it's probably going to dry and flake on you. So that's a great hack. So even if it's not been 6 months, that's a great one for that. Another thing that I like to do if you are really clean, this is all in the guide, but this is actually the same palette that I presented, and of course mine's a little bit used and abused, but one of the things I do is I take my isopropyl alcohol, 70%, and I will just saturate it, let it sit, don't close it immediately, just kind of let it soak in there, and that's going to kill all the bacteria and contamination that you might have had from double dipping because we use our brushes, they're in the eye membrane. stuff happens. It's makeup. It's getting close to our eyes. So this is a great way. You can do this for all of your powders. If you have a little film from like oil, you can use another tool. You can get these on Amazon, but this is just a little scraper. So you can scrape off any like thing that's oily, that residue. I like to have one of these also. You can easily sanitize it at any time, but you can also scrape out your moisturizer without getting your finger in and keeping your makeup really clean. This is a cream blush, and when I show you my little hack, so you can do that and do a little scrape action and keep it nice and clean, and that will also extend the life of your cream products and also keep them from getting grossed up all over your face. So let me just show you the multi-purpose hack. So I'm going to just use, this is a cream blush. You can get them anywhere. This one happens to be in a tin, but you can get them in stick form or in liquid form. But I will show you, I will take a little scrape out, not so much. I like to work off the back of my hand. I am blind as a bat, so I'm going to have to take off my glasses. But I'll show you on one side of the face. So blush adds life to our face. And a lot of times people will put on their foundation, they're scared of blush, and they don't wear it. And then we look like ghosts, or we over bronze. And really, we want to think of blush as adding life. Almost every single person, I've never met anyone in the world except for maybe very, very, very fair skin who would use a cool color pink. So corals and warm pinks and warm plums are generally the most flattering, depending. So I'm going to just take my cream blush. I like to use my fingers, and I always smile because we don't want to bring the blush too low because that can age us 10 years. We have this little triangle of beauty, which is a totally another topic, but we want to keep everything nice and lifted and up. So I always like to smile, and I'll concentrate the color right in the center. I will not leave it like that. I just want to show you the best part about using a cream is that you can blend it. If you mess up, you can always just easily rub it in, and I will smile and just really instantly, and you'll see the difference. You'll see how much life. I kind of go, can you guys see? I have already just, with just a touch of cream, nothing too much. And then to make it multi-purpose, you would just wipe, everybody has different eye shapes, but you can take it and just kind of for an everyday look. And then of course, you want to put a little bit on the lips. It's very monochromatic, but still very natural. And when you're working with a warm color, it's always good on the cheeks and on the lips, but also on the eyes. People forget. And you can see one side of my face has life, and it was literally one product in a few seconds. So that is one of my favorites. I have to go back. Okay, and then really, really, really quickly, because I know I want to be mindful of the time. An easy smoky eye, okay? Super easy. You would take your matte color, a brown or a dark gray. Black is just so harsh for the eye and for any eye color. So I like to use black when you want to make a real statement and it's going to be evening, but a lot of times a dark brown or an emerald green or a navy blue or really dark gray, those are the colors I'll gravitate towards. And so a smoky eye is just really easy. You find, your darker color and you find a brush. I like to do like a dome shape. This says blue on it. It's not clean. You have different types of brushes depending on your eye shape. So if you have a smaller eye or you're maybe a hooded eye, you're going to want to use a smaller, compact, rounded brush, right? If I were to use this type of brush on my eyes are pretty large and round, it would take forever. And so I see a lot of confusion in the brush world. They all, they sell sets and it's like, this is my size, right? It's a nice dome. And when you do a smoky eye, it's not hard. You'll see how easy it is. I mean, it does take practice, but you'll take, whatever. I'll just go for the dark brown, even though it might be a little. I'll just take a dark. I have hazel eyes. So hazel and brown go. They're really nice. And all you're going to do for a smoky eye, you're going to think it's crazy. You need two colors for a smoky eye. You need the dark color and then a transition shade. I know YouTube wants to show you tens of thousands of colors and make it super complicated. You would just go on the eyelid, right? And of course, if you had a smaller eyelid, you would use a smaller brush. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just curve it onto the eye, being mindful not to pull it down here. We don't want to get any color here. You just keep it the curvature on the eye. You would go in with a blending brush, and you would find a little transition shade, which a transition shade could be any color, but it always needs to be a matte color. And for the sake of this, I'll just go in with a little bit of a light peachy color, just to subdue the harsh dark. So I just want to blend it so that it's not harsh, that there's a nice transition there. I mean, this is the easiest way to do it. Of course, you can spend a lot more time doing it, but when you just want to get ready in a pinch in 2 seconds, you'll see. So that's a 2-step smoky eye with your matte palette. And let's go. Okay, so the last 3 hacks are literally my favorite. Every single person that I've taught these hacks has been like, what? How did you do that? And I'm like, it's all an illusion. Makeup is all an illusion. It's kind of like what David said. You want people to focus on you and not what you're wearing. Like, you want your intellect to shine through, and you can learn all of the techniques to like get that attention off of, I don't know, something that could be distracting, perhaps something that's not blended right, or maybe a color, we want the focus to be on you. And so these are just hacks. These are just plays on color and illusion. So I will put on my mask. I will just curl my eyelashes. They're not torture devices. They are also not created equal. I will say there are times to spend money in makeup. There's a time not to. And I will say the higher end eyelash curlers, the ones that are a little bit more pricey, do actually pay off compared to the lower cost ones. So, because you only need to do like one pump, right? Versus, a cheap, I don't like saying cheaper, a less costly one, you might have to work at it a little bit harder. But a little bit of mascara is for sure. I mean, a little eye lift, a little bit of eyelash curler is an instant eye lift with mascara. And I will show you, I'll go really quickly. Normally I like to spend a lot of time on mascara for me because it's a big impact makeup product that really creates the color block in the eye between the white of the eye and the black of the mascara. And I always put some on the bottom. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you need to create a balance. And you really need to make sure you get those outer lashes. I see that a lot where people just go quickly, but they forget those outer lashes, and that's what creates the illusion and the cat eye. And so I don't have a smoky eye here, but I'll show you when you don't curl it, how it just kind of falls flat. So this is just a quick little tip. I'm just going really quickly here, just to show you. But I mean, you can see the lifted eye. And so the last quick tip, is it the last one or second to last one? The tight line. I interviewed Eugenia Weston. She's a legend in the makeup artist world. And I have a podcast, and when I asked her what's her favorite makeup hack, I felt reaffirmed because she said tight lining, and it's something that a lot of people don't do, women don't do. And so in the 40s, actually, before and during World War II, there was such a there just weren't a lot of makeup products anymore, because they were all the materials were being used for the war. And so women weren't able to really find eyeliner anymore. They had to find hacks. And one of the hacks that they would do was to use their mascara as eyeliner, and they would take it into their tight line. So the ridge right beneath where your lash bed sits. And there are tons of product. I have very sensitive eyes. So if I can do it, I feel like anybody can. It does tickle if you haven't done it, but it is just lining this line, and it extends the length of your lashes. It extends the length of your lash bed. So I like to do it normally I do it before mascara, but I'm going to show you. It will make my eyes look even. Do you guys see what I'm doing? I'm kind of underneath my lash bed on this ridge with a black. Black in this case is the best because it's going to create that line. I do this on small eyes, it'll make it look bigger. Once you go eyeline traditional, you're going to start closing the eye, but doing it in the tight line is always safe. If I were to use it on the waterline, it would close my eyes. But you can see just how a little bit of black there just really changes the look. And of course, if you want to get really fancy, you would use like a flesh tone or a white to extend in the waterline, to extend the whites of your eyes and create that look. And I think I think that's it. Oh, the brow gel. So I have pretty thick brows, so I don't truthfully need to do that, but I do know my fair-skinned beauties, a little bit of brow gel can go a long way. But one thing that is always true, and this is for men too, just cleaning the brows up after you're putting on any sort of makeup. If you have brows, or if you don't, or if you choose not to do it, at least take a brow comb and comb them up and out. It really will also instantly shape the face better. It looks a little bit more presentable. Same actually with mustaches for men. I do that a lot with my male grooming. I mean, things that we don't think about that just need a little bit of TLC. Doesn't take that much time and is a huge impact. So those are my 3 tips. And yeah, any questions?
Well, these are fantastic tips, and how wonderful to emerge after this year, and you have made it so simple and so easy. I guess my question is, what is the one thing you would say to someone that's a bit afraid of makeup? How would you make it a little? I mean, your examples today are very user friendly, but I'm just curious, like if they say, well, I'm kind of afraid, what baby step might you give them?
So I guess it's kind of a 2-part thing. I think that there's so many stigmas surrounding the use of makeup that are blocks of why people choose not to. It's either they don't know how, or they think it's superficial, or they think it's bad for the skin, whatever. But one of the things that I like to remind people who are like, no makeup, first of all, it's been happening for thousands, like since humankind has existed, they've been known to care about their appearance, right? And their faces and their outfits. And so it's completely natural to want to know and wear makeup. So the one thing after skincare, because that's number 1, and you have to know your skin type, you have to have that clean canvas that was already mentioned. So I think just baby steps, right? Go to a makeup artist in your area, read a book, watch a tutorial, whatever it is. But what's that one feature that you love about yourself? I call it the money maker. Maybe that's not politically correct, but I'm like, what is that one feature that you're always complimented on? Is it your brows? Is it your eyelashes? Is it your smile? Is it your cheekbones? Is it your jawline? I mean, everybody has at least one feature. Is it your nose? Like, what is that one feature dear makeup artist, dear makeup, confused makeup wearer, you don't know what to start. What is your feature? Okay, let's play that up. Like, let's start there. If it's your eyes, let's try starting with some mascara. Is it your brows? Let's try grooming them, right? Is it your smile? Well, let's put on like a tinted lip balm. Like, we don't need to go crazy. Let's take a baby step. And so I think this is the best way to start. And then you can grow from there and get confident in one thing at a time. But makeup is, yeah.
That's great advice. That's really good advice, to take what you love already, enhance that, and then you can go forward from there. Absolutely fantastic. Natalie, we love what you do. You have really inspired us today with your fabulous tips. And you shared a little bit earlier how we can follow you, and we can buy your book and follow you and see all the great things that you're doing. So thank you for inspiring us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So our next guest is Michelle Pritchard. And Michelle is originally from Rochester, New York, where she lives. She danced professionally in New York City and Los Angeles for 10 years before receiving her MFA in dance from California State University, Long Beach. She's taught dance as an adjunct professor at SUNY Brockport, Orange Coast Community College, Loyola Marymount University, and currently she teaches in the dance department at Nazareth College. She's performed with Keith Johnson Dancers, the LA Contemporary Dance Company, Doug Verone in the Metropolitan Opera's production of La Troyenne, and David Parsons in the Times Square Millennial Celebration. She was nominated for a Lester Horton Award for her performance with Keith Johnson in 2006. She first discovered Pilates in New York and went on to study with Karen Kippinger, Rael Iskowitz, and Bazzi Pilates. She opened Evolution Pilates Studio in Pittsburgh, New York in 2008, and she's been working there with clients of all fitness levels and backgrounds for the last 12 years. She's also developed a curriculum for dancers to train them in Pilates for dance, and hosts a private training program each summer at her studio. So please welcome Michelle Pritchard.
Thank you, David. I'm really excited to be here with you again on your Feel Good Beauty program. I think it's a really important project that you're doing, and I'm happy to be a part of it. So thank you. Today, I'm going to talk about good posture and its implication for our mental health. My name is Michelle Pritchard, and I'm the owner of Evolution Pilates, which is in Rochester, New York. I teach Pilates, I teach anatomy, and I teach somatics, also at a local college, Nazareth College. So I have this particular love for the body and for mental health and how they connect, how they relate. So I thought I would share a little bit about this today. So many of us over the last year plus now, amid this pandemic, have been at home. We've been working from home maybe, or taking on extra things. And, you know, our mental health has probably shifted a bit. I know my family's had their struggles, and, you know, I think that our bodies are a really great doorway into helping ourselves. So somatics is the study of how the mind and body connect. And Pilates is a somatic practice. When I work with clients, I work with the Pilates method, which is a series of exercises designed by Joseph Pilates. But I also attend to their awareness, which is part of Pilates, but also part of somatic training. We talk a lot about breath. We talk a lot about posture and how these things relate. So, you know, I know our parents may have told us to sit up tall and, you know, stand up straight. And there's more than just the look of that to help you with your mental health. Some of the implications of good posture are we can breathe easier, right? We can take deeper, fuller breaths, and that helps with organ function. So, you know, better function for the diaphragm, better function for the heart. Imagine if your body is caved in this way, how it restricts your breathing. And when we spend a lot of time here, you know, that can affect how we breathe and how our organs function. This is also, there's implications for better circulation, right? Sitting and standing with good alignment allows you to work more efficiently and to fatigue not as quickly, put less strain on your body, on your muscles. And being aware of your posture is really the first step to breaking some of our habits. So I want to just show you sort of a connection that I find between mind and body that's kind of easy and obvious. So if you're wherever you are, sitting, standing, just try this exercise with me. So you can close your eyes if that feels more comfortable, but we're gonna close our body off. We're gonna like round the shoulders forward and sort of pinch your face forward. Maybe cross your arms, cross your legs if you can. Just let everything feel very constricted. And I'm going to ask you also if it's okay for you to breathe pretty rapidly. So little short breaths. We'll just do this for a couple of seconds. And at the same time that you're taking this rapid breathing and this posture, I want you to try to think to yourself, I feel amazing. I feel great. I'm so happy and I feel at peace. And let that go. Okay. And we're going to do the opposite. So let's open the arms, open the chest, maybe lift your face up to the ceiling, relax the muscles of your face. Take some deep, slow breaths. And say to yourself, I feel awful. This is horrible. I'm sad and miserable. Everything is the worst. And then let that go. So if you're like most people, that was a weird experience. Like you felt maybe some disconnect. It was hard to say the opposite of what your body was feeling, right? I didn't believe myself. I felt like laughing. It was false. And I think that is just a really simple demonstration of how connected we are mind to body, right? And so if we take that and extrapolate from there, couldn't it help us to find our best posture and maybe help our mental state? Like on those days when I'm feeling kind of like garbage, you know, what if I stood up taller and took some deep breaths? Could it help even a little bit? Right? Maybe it could. And I would argue that it definitely can. So starting with that, I want to say just a couple more things. Then we're going to do some exercises to help us support that best posture that we might be able to help ourselves with. Excuse me. So posture is also a way in which we present ourselves to the world, right? Like we can show confidence, we can show an openness and an empathy. in the way that we present ourselves in our bodies. And the last year on Zoom has definitely taught me some things about this. My daughter likes to point out that I always have this like angry face, even when I'm not angry. And I've noticed it on Zoom, right? I've noticed that I can hold my face in a way that says like, don't ask me any questions, don't approach me. And so, I've had to really think about that and sort of retrain my face to show what I actually feel, which is I'd love you to ask me a question. I'd love to hear your story. So I think becoming aware is the first step in working with that. If I walk into a room with my arms folded and my shoulders closed and my face closed and my eyes closed, it says to you something, right? It says, she's not really open to this experience. Whereas if I walk in more open in my chest, my heart is open, my shoulders are open, my face is open, you might approach me differently. So I think something to think about, and it absolutely has to do with our posture. So I also want to say that, we've said posture is this way we have influence in our own bodies and how we're feeling. I think you can have positive effects against depression, and it helps us maintain like a higher level of self-esteem and positivity when we're faced with stress. So there's a study that took place in 2017 at the University of Auckland that I'll point to, and they showed that participants who practiced better posture had more energy and positivity when they were faced with a stressful task. So, if you have severe depressions, of course, no substitute for seeking professional guidance, but at least, can we help lessen the effects of our day-to-day stress? Yeah, I think we can help ourselves in these small ways. Moshe Feldenkrais is the originator of the Feldenkrais method, which is another somatic practice. And he said, no matter how closely we look, it's difficult to find a mental act that can take place without the support of some physical function. And I think that also speaks to this idea. So let's get to a few exercises that can support this best posture. I'm going to, I have a mat behind me. You can lay down on a rug or, some comfortable surface for yourself. And we're going to just start with a little bit of awareness. So arms are down at your sides. And I have my feet planted, my knees bent. If it's more comfortable for you to stretch your legs out long, you can do so. And eyes can be closed or open, your choice. So we're just going to take a moment to settle. Letting the weight of the body sink into the mat a little bit. So maybe the skull gets a little heavier. Maybe the pelvis gets a little heavier. And in this way, we start to release any unnecessary tension in the body. We're going to practice something here called a body scan. So just take a moment to scan through the body. You can move from head to toe, or if it feels better to bounce around, but look for whatever the body is asking you to pay attention to. Maybe there's a sensation in your shoulder of tension or ease. Maybe only the left side of your low back is feeling something. And I can't always put words to the sensations in my body, and I want to encourage you to let that go as well. Sometimes it's a feeling more than it's a word, or it could even be a color that helps you describe a sensation in the body, but just spending a moment scanning and noticing any sensations. And I'll also encourage you to not only seek sensations that might have, something negative to them, but what's pleasurable in the body, right? Where do I feel ease and comfort? Where do I feel lightness or, something I can't name? And if it's possible to exhale and release any tension in the body, go ahead and do that. For me, that feels like getting heavier. So maybe I can find some efficiency when I let go of tension. I'm going to bring your attention now to your spine and the curves that are present in your spine. Right, we have this beautiful S curve that we need for support and structure, for shock absorbency, right? We don't want a flat spine. We want all these curves to be present. And just notice those curves. Notice the volume of space under your neck and the volume of space under your low back. And how those are different or the same. And feel your scapula, your shoulder blades on the floor on either side of your spine. Notice how they make contact in a similar or a different way, right to left. And notice that this is maybe an ideal posture for you, right? If we were standing in space, notice how my head is right on top of my rib cage, and my rib cage is right on top of my pelvis. And see if you can memorize for yourself how that feels, so that we could maybe recall it when we come to a standing position in space, in gravity. So this is a great way to just start to create awareness around your best posture in a way that's really free of tension. Okay, so let's do now a few exercises to mobilize the spine. Maybe we have some tightness around sitting or standing a lot. So I'm going to have you put your hands on your pelvis, the bones that stick out in the front of the pelvis here. And we're going to just rock the pelvis and forth, pressing your low back into the mat and arching your low back away from the mat. And I'm not lifting anything. I'm just rocking, just looking for a little mobility. It gets tight, right, when we're sitting or standing a lot. So just gentle rocking back and forth. And you can breathe with this. Inhale as you arch the back, and exhale as you press the back into the mat. Inhale as you arch, and exhale as you press the back into the mat. One more time. This can be a great way to undo, a lot of time in one position if you're sitting or standing. a lot. Okay, let that come back to a place between those two extremes, and you'll find you have that space in your low back again. Take the arms down to your sides. And this is called a pelvic peel. We're going to press the low back into the mat, and we're going to lift the pelvis and spine off the mat into a bridge position. And at the top, I have this best alignment again, shoulders in line with rib cage, in line with pelvis, and also in line with my knees now. And I roll back down through the spine, looking for length and mobility and articulation of the muscles of my spine. Let's do that a few times. So it's not just lifting and lowering. I'm actually peeling up one vertebra at a time, and then I'm peeling back down one vertebra at a time. And if I gave you an image, it's that your spine could be a string of pearls, and we're laying them down one pearl at a time onto a sandy beach and making an imprint of each pearl. And then I pick that necklace back up one pearl at a time. And there will for sure be spots that feel like big chunks of your pearl necklace are moving all at once. And over time, you develop more and more articulation and mobility through this exercise and through awareness. Can I soften through my rib cage and then lower rib cage and then waist and then pelvis, right? Try it one more time, and then we'll let this go. And if you feel a cramp in your hamstrings doing this exercise, that's normal. You could try squeezing a ball between your legs or a pillow between your legs to help with that. Okay, let's come to sitting and do just a few more things for our posture. You could do this standing as well. So again, spinal mobility, we're going to take hands behind your head, and we're going to rotate your spine to one side and back to center, and the other side and back to center. You could also take hands across your chest if that's more comfortable. Rotate and back to center, and rotate and back to center. Do that one more time, looking for spinal mobility again. All right, let hands come down to your thighs. Let's roll the shoulders up and back. Big circles of the shoulders. Again, looking for that mobility. Let's do one shoulder and then the other. And then the last exercise, we're going to think about lifting our chest up. So heart up, chest up, opening toward the ceiling, and come back to center. This can be really small and simple. If you see me from the side, I'm going to lift my chest up. I'm not rocking back on my pelvis. Last time. And back to center. All right. There are so many more exercises we could do to help improve our posture. If any of you are interested, I encourage you to reach out to me. My website is www.rocpilates.com. And I'd be happy to have a conversation with you, offer some more exercises, do some Pilates and somatics with you. Thank you again for this opportunity. And these are some ways that we can improve our mental health through posture.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I think we're all feeling so much better. To learn more about Michelle and her work, you can follow her here on social media, and here is her website as well. So I just want to thank you, the audience, for joining us for this edition of Feel Good Beauty. And I especially want to thank my guests today, Kate O'Brien, Natalie Setareh, and Michelle Pritchard. And for other Feel Good Beauty videos, please check out my YouTube channel, and we will see you again next time. Thanks for joining us.